I'm Lisa Testa. This is My Life Changed When story. And I've always loved that God is a storyteller, a poet, and that I can know him better through his story written in the lives of others. So I want to share a small part of my story. As a child, I loved God's holiness. I was taught to enter the physical space, the building, in reverence, bowing to God's eminence as I kneeled and prayed in the solitude before the services began. My relationship with God was as a small person admiring an other who was grand and far above me. I loved God, but from a distance. As I grew older, his grandeur and holiness began to scare me because my sins as a girl seemed forgivable, teasing my younger siblings, talking back to my parents. But in high school, and early into college, I began sinning in ways I knew were more serious. I felt my sin separating me from the God I had always admired. As the separation became more and more real to me, I grew depressed and afraid. I started to question if God could really forgive my sins. At this time, my sophomore year in college, I met a fellow student in my Principles of Economics class, and right away I knew she was a Christian because she was very open about her faith. What intrigued me about her was how she called Jesus Lord. I had never called him that. He was Jesus Christ, Son of God, seated at the right hand of the Father, Savior of the world. I knew Christ as God and intellectually understood that he died for the sins of the world to reconcile sinners. I had a lot of head knowledge about who God was and who Jesus was, but I didn't seem to have the same understanding of him that Suzanne had. I remember at this time grappling with this question: what's the deal with Jesus? As I prayed and asked God to help me understand the deal about Jesus, he helped. He was faithful. When I would read the Bible, I was drawn to passages about God's faithfulness to those who seek him, and he delivered. Over the next 2 years, God used Suzanne and others in my life, such as my husband, Steve, to help me find the answer to that question. I learned that the deal about Jesus is he wants to be more than a doctrine to me. He wants to be my Lord and friend. My life changed when I publicly declared my faith and trust in him 25 years ago in January of 1990 at the chapel in Akron. Now I live to tell others the deal about Jesus.